Ladies and gentlemen, the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua was speaking at the burial ceremony of Reverend Julius Ndumia in Tetu, Nyeri County on Monday, May 11th, 2026. And what the former Deputy President said at that function goes well beyond an eulogy. It is a direct political and investigative challenge to the sitting government. Reverend Julius Ndumia was a PCEA pastor, a clergyman serving at PCEA Tabuga Church. The circumstances of his death are deeply disturbing. According to what Gachagua stated at the burial, CCTV footage reportedly captured individuals entering the church compound at around 1 a.m. and leaving at approximately 4 a.m. The pastor was inside that church. That means if the footage is accurate in its timeline, Ndumia was subjected to an attack lasting close to 3 hours before the perpetrators left the scene. 2 suspects have since been arrested in connection with the case. Crucially, Gachagua is openly questioning whether those 2 individuals are actually the killers. The basics for that challenge: the suspects were reportedly found in possession of the pastor's mobile phone, a phone that the former deputy president says was discarded by real attackers before the suspects came into possession of it. That is a material distinction. Holding a discarded phone does not establish that a person committed the underlying crime. Following that, Gachagua turned directly to the footage. The former deputy president stated that detectives from the Directorate of Criminal Investigation based in Nakuru are in possession of that CCTV materials. The call is clear: release that CCTV, make it public, and let the footage speak for itself. That demand puts the DCI, the Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen, and by extension, President William Ruto in a specific position. Either the footage is released and its context becomes part of the public record, or its continued withholding invite the questions of what it contains and why it remains out of a public reach. Beyond the immediate murder investigations, Gachagua used the burial platform to raise a pattern. The former deputy president accused both President Ruto and the Interior CS Murkomen of remaining silent in the face of repeated attacks targeting the PCEA churches. That accusation is not about a single incident. It frames Ndumia's murder as part of a series of attacks on specific institutions, attacks that the government has failed to address with urgency. The PCEA Church carries a significant historical and institutional weight in Kenya, particularly in the Mount Kenya region. Its roles in the country's development through schools, hospitals, and community structures is documented and long-standing. An attack on a PCEA pastor inside a PCEA church is therefore not just a criminal matter. In the political geography of the central Kenya, it carries a weight that reaches far beyond Tetu. Gachagua called on the government to increase security for church leaders, particularly those serving in isolated areas. The former deputy president also warned pastors directly against living alone, stating that many clergy are now living in fear in the aftermath of this murder. That warning, delivered at a burial, reflects a security environment that the church community in the region considered genuinely threatening. Meanwhile, the widow, Esther Ndumia, paid tribute to her husband at the same ceremony. She revealed that shortly before his death, the pastor had shared a dream in which he saw himself graduating while wearing a maroon gown after clearing the church. That detail, shared publicly at a burial, adds a deeper human dimension to a case that is now entangled in political and investigative scrutiny. In response to everything Gachagua's raised, the political framing of this moment deserves direct examination. The former deputy president is not in the government. He was impeached and removed from office in October 2024. His relationship with President Ruto and the current administration is openly adversarial. That context does not make his questions about the CCTV footage illegitimate. The footage either exists in ODM or in DCI custody, or it does not, and that is a factual matter independent of who is asking. That the political context does not explain in the choice of the platform and the choice of the target. Gachagua named Ruto and Murkomen by name at the funeral in Nyeri, the heart of the Mount Kenya region. The PCEA Church has deep roots in that community, raising the government's silence on church attacks at the PCEA pastor's burial in Nyeri is not a calculated appeal to a constituency that the former deputy president is actively courting ahead of the 2027 general elections.